everybody, and welcome to Warriors Fastbreak here on HBC TV 25. I'm Justin Barrientos. Thank you for joining us. Time to talk some women's basketball at Winona State with head coach Scott Ballard. And Coach, a split this weekend against Wayne and Augustana. Let's start out with the Friday win and talk about Wayne. It seemed like everything kind of went your way in the game against Wayne State.
Well, we knew going into that weekend that we were playing two really good basketball teams. They play different style of basketball, but they're both really good at what they do. And Wayne is strictly a 2-3 zone team. They got a lot of size in their front court. They're very active in their zone, and we've had a lot of good games with them in the past. And you know, they've had a lot of success over the last 9 years in our league, and they came into that game 13-4. They had won 7 or 8 in a row prior to the weekend before, and Moorhead was the last team to beat them. So we knew that we were going to be playing against 2-3 zone all the time, not having to deal with any changing defenses or full court press, stuff like that. But we worked a lot that week leading up to the Wayne game with regards to playing against zone and getting comfortable and confident with it, and you know, mixing in a couple quick hitters or late clock plays. And I was really pleased with our performance. Our players really executed the game plan well, and offensively, the first half we pretty much put on a clinic on how to attack the zone from the high post. And I never charted it, but we did emphasize that we may have to take more three-point shots in this game than we usually do. But even at that, we just made it a priority that we always need to get a high post touch every possession before we do shoot from three-point land. And as it worked out, we did so well with high-low game that we still only took maybe 14, 15 three-point shots, and hit enough of those to complement our inside game. So it was a good performance, and defensively we were really on point and did a really good job on their inside kids, and they struggled shooting the ball from the perimeter the entire game, and that made it a little bit easier for us defensively that night. Yeah,
Wayne ended up just shooting 25% from the floor, 20% from three-point range. Yeah. You kind of answered the question by saying you put on a clinic in that first half, but you have to be happy to be facing a 2-3 zone just the way that your team passes the ball and finds that open player.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's one of our strengths is, sharing the basketball and making an extra pass. Sometimes we get in a hurry and force things, but we really did a good job of showing patience that night. We always say, against the zone, patience means points. And we executed a game plan, as well as you could expect in the first half. We weren't happy with how we played the first 5 minutes of the second half. We didn't come out with the same focus and energy, and of course halftime gave them time to regroup and come out and play harder, and they actually beat us by 2 in the second half, but we played such a dominant first half that we had a nice cushion to work with. But everybody got to play. Some of our young people got some quality minutes that have been patiently waiting, and so it was a fun evening for us.
I want to ask you about what you were talking about last week, in that if somebody gets a foul early on, you're going to put them on the bench, and then you're going to bring somebody else in so that you save people and you don't get into foul trouble. That happened where Hannah McGlone picked up an early foul in that game. Jenny Whelan comes in, and she just has
she played great.
The game of her season so far. Yeah. Talk about her performance and how that kind of works when you send somebody to the bench and have your reserves come in.
Well, I watched our game on demand, so I listened to your commentary, and
I hope it was all right.
Well, yeah, but you guys were talking about, is it an advantage or disadvantage of protecting people from foul trouble and whatnot. And there's 2 reasons that we do that, and I really like the quarter system that we have now with the women's game instead of the 2 halves. But one, we can protect people from foul trouble, so the second half they have 3 fouls to work with instead of just 2. And the other thing is, when you have as deep a bench and the quality of players that we do, why not protect people from foul trouble and take advantage of your depth? And so, Jenny Whelan and Hannah McGlone are like a tag team, partners at the 4 spot. And now, Erica Wooldridge is starting to get back into the mix after, missing a lot before Christmas. So, and she's versatile. She can play the 4 or the 5 spot. So now we're starting to try to find opportunities to get her some more experience, which will accelerate her learning curve for next year. But, when we got quality depth like that, why take a chance on getting somebody in foul trouble in the first half when you have, people over there on the bench that can come in and protect them?
If I remember some of that conversation correctly, I think one of the points that our color person was trying to make was it's a possibility that you might mix up some chemistry on the floor by switching out players. Is that any kind of concern,
No.
Chip?
I mean, for the last 2 weeks, or basically since we came back from Christmas break, even in practice, 2 of the 4 days that we have practice, we mix our groups up, and we've told our team we want them to all be comfortable playing with different combinations of people, because foul trouble could create a situation like that. Or when we went and played down at Upper Iowa, we didn't have Tara Roloff, we didn't have Liz Evenocek that night, and so people that normally come off the bench like Kayla Schaefer and Gabby Dowd, they both started that night and did great. So we've got confidence in all of them. They don't all play 20 minutes apiece, but basically from this point on, how we play people and how many minutes they play and stuff is dictated on matchups and foul trouble. And I think our group understands that. The most important thing right now is just try to win one game at a time and be successful one weekend at a time. And then when the next weekend is coming up, what playoff implications do you have and what are you playing for? And right now we get to play for a chance to win our division, and every game is going to have implications on regional rankings, which usually start coming out probably the second weekend of February. So there's a lot of things, a lot of excitement, a lot of things to play for that are coming up.
You're kind of telegraphing all my questions.
Oh, is that right?
It's kind of interesting. So we'll move on to that before we get to the Augustana game.
Mm-hmm.
8 games left in the season. You got 2 more at home this weekend. I was going to ask, is there any kind of change in the way that you approach the games because playoffs are coming up and you're obviously successful, you're shooting for maybe a 1 seed in the tournament?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how does that factor in?
No, I mean, you just prepare for each team individually. What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? What are their tendencies? Try to prepare for what you anticipate they will try to take away, or have your players prepared for a counter for each scenario that they might try based on their tendencies throughout the season up to this point. So no, you just, it's an old cliche, but you just have to take it one game at a time. If you get too far ahead of yourself, then you're not going to be prepared for the moment right in front of you. So just one game at a time, one weekend at a time, try to get better from one week to the next. That's been our motto, and who we are since the beginning of the season, even in preseason. So just keep it simple, and just do your best to get ready for what you anticipate.
All right, Augustana game was the second half of the doubleheader, and it seemed to be a little bit of a tougher game. You guys were able to knock their lead down to 2 at one point during the game, but then Augustana went on a run and came back on that one. What was your overall thought of that game?
I thought Augustana played great that night. They're a team that tries to turn you over, and they rely on a lot of points off of turnovers. I think their opponents are averaging 22 turnovers a game, and that was a priority going into that game, was take care of the basketball and make sure you rebound. And lo and behold, when the dust settled, we only had 10 turnovers in that game. We only gave up 5 offensive rebounds, but they shot the ball. They had some kids come off the bench that they can shoot the ball well, but we held every one of their starters below their average. But they had 3 kids that came off the bench that hurt us, especially in the second half when we made our run. But they just shot the ball. They shot the ball well enough all 4 quarters to make up for not getting points off of turnovers or offensive rebounding. You know, it was one of those rare games. I watched the film, and so did Coach Wirtz after the game was over. And it was one of those games that I watched the film, it's like, you know what, defensively, we were pretty good. There wasn't a lot of defensive breakdowns. They just made some shots, and you just have to tip your hat and say, congrats, you know, you beat us. You know, we had 2 quarters, the first quarter and the third quarter, we shot 50 to 60% ourselves.
Right.
And both those quarters we were in the game. But then the second quarter and fourth quarter, we only shot like 25%. And against a team like Augie, who, you know, they lead the league in scoring, and, you know, we got to see why. It's because of their depth. But we did some really good things, taking care of the ball, rebounding. Unfortunately, we just didn't shoot the ball well in 2 quarters, and that's where it got away from us.
All right, let's talk about health-wise. We noticed that Callie Hackman was out this weekend on crutches. Any other health concerns besides her, and what happened to Callie?
Oh, Callie sprained her ankle. I don't know, it was, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday of last week, and didn't come down anybody's foot, no contact involved. She just tried to make a cut and rolled it. And, you know, it's a significant sprain. So, you know, it's unfortunate for her, but thank goodness we have a lot of depth, and we're still hopeful that Callie will be able to, you know, get back in a couple weeks and be herself before the end of the season.
Okay, Minot and Mary are coming up this weekend at McCollin Gymnasium. How do you match up against those 2 teams?
Well, I mean, both teams play a lot of zone. Minot, they're usually half zone, half man. But Mary scored 83 points on us last year when we went to their place, and they've got some different personnel, but they play same style. Play a lot of 3-2 zone, a lot of 2-3 zone. They have a diamond 3/4 court press that they use. They play 4 out, 1 in a lot on offense. They like to shoot the 3. They basically play 8 people and rotate them. But they're a dangerous team. They beat Northern handily at Mary. They've had a lot of close games. They're dangerous. And the fact that they scored 83 on us last year, we remember that like it was last weekend. So, you know, they can present some matchup problems. But, you know, we've got a lot of experience playing against zone since Christmas break. And once again, we're going to see a lot of zone this weekend. So, you know, I'm confident that we'll be prepared and we'll play well. We just can't afford to have, you know, 2 quarters where you shoot, you know, 25% from the field. So we're looking forward to the challenge and hope that people will come out. We had 2 great crowds last weekend. We had, I know on Friday against Wayne we had over 750 people there, and then against Augie we had over 1,000 people there. And we've only got 4 home games left, right. You know, and we're still playing for a first-round home playoff game. So we got a lot to play for, and it makes it a lot of fun and exciting for everybody.
All right. Well, hopefully people come out this weekend, too, and support the Warriors.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
We're going to take a break here on Warrior Fast Break, and when we come back, Kayla Schaefer will join us right after this.
We chose HBC because they're a local company. They have a big audience in Winona, which is the geographic group that we're looking for. Mel is very easy to work with. She's genuinely concerned about how our money is being spent, and she does everything she can to make sure we get the most for our money. She takes care of us. So whenever there's a problem, which is rarely, I know that I can go to her and she's going to take care of it.
To see how HBC Advertising can help your company, call Melanie at 507-474-5802.
Handcuffs off his hand.
Is this the ear or is this the ear?
Oh my God.
How much cinnamon did you use?
A lot.
They have a lot of questions.
I need a dinghy. Where's the dinghy? Why is this squishy?
Am I going to be infected?
I have to use a blender? Swing.
Because they have no clue.
Why is this cheese hard? Is this a cabbage? These people have nowhere to go but up.
This is disgusting.
All new, Sunday night at 9. Worst Cooks in America on Food Network.
My name is Drew Scott, and on Property Brothers, What do you do? I'm Jonathan Scott, and I do the work. I take them to houses. It's a lot of work. Drew helps me throughout the entire process. He finds the perfect house. What Jonathan does on Property Brothers is he makes dreams come true.
This is so nice.
Property Brothers, Wednesday night at 9, only on HGTV.
And welcome back to Warriors Fast Break here on HBC TV 25. Time now to talk to one of the players for Winona State, and Kayla Schaefer joins us. Thanks for joining us.
Yes,
First time on the show, so welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Let's talk a little bit about what you heard Coach say about the games that happened this weekend against Wayne and Augustana. How do you feel the team is playing? How do you feel that you're playing right now?
I feel the team is playing pretty well. Obviously, you can always improve, but this weekend against Wayne, we definitely executed the game plan. I felt like we knew they were going to come out in zone, and we knew that we had to get it into high post, and then it would open up many other things for us. So as long as we keep taking one game at a time, I think we'll be okay.
All right, let's talk about you a little bit and your career so far. Last year you played in 33 games, which is very good to get that kind of experience right away as a freshman. Talk about the transition between high school and then college and how you were able to adapt to that.
Well, high school was very different for me compared to college. I come from a very small town, so the competition, every team is very different. Coming to college, I think the biggest thing is just getting used to how physical the game is and how much faster it is, which, I mean, I had great leaders to help me adapt to it. And then this year I've been noticing just how much more the game has been slowing down for me. And I just think with more and more experience, it will eventually just slow down and become a lot easier.
All right, let's talk about your decision to come here, because from what I understand, you were thinking about other schools in the NSIC,
Yep.
and then you finally decided to come to Winona State. What was the thing that kind of tipped you over to come over here?
Well, one of the main things I was looking for was great teammates and coaches, kind of like the family atmosphere. I remember when I first came here and even first talked to Coach, that was one of the first things we talked about. And Winona always kind of stuck out to me, but I did also want to see like my other options, and so I feel like I kind of put off my decision for it, but I always kept comparing everything to Winona, and I eventually realized that Winona was right for me.
All right, Coach, what were some of the reasons why you went after Kayla Schaefer? And
Well, when we seen her playing AAU, we seen somebody that was very athletic and had a tremendous upside. A versatile player. She can play multiple positions. It's just a matter of her, learning how to play with a perimeter mindset and improve her ball skills. And last year as a freshman, we played her mostly at the 4 spot because she was a tough matchup for 4s to guard, and she could just rely on her athleticism. And now that she's improved her ball skills, she's playing more on the perimeter. But I see her being able to play, 3, 4, her whole career and be good at both of them.
Let's talk about your game this season. Do you see yourself more as a scorer, more as a defender, more as a distributor? How do you feel your game, the strengths of your game are this year?
This year I've been trying to focus a lot on my defense, just because there's so many people on our team that can score, and as a bench player, I know I'm not a starter, and there's a lot more people that can score out there, shoot better than me. So I just focus on defense and kind of let the scoring happen for me. If I have an open shot, I'll take it, or try getting some rebounds, or just on defense create a steal or something, just to be able to help my team out as much as I can.
All right, let's talk a little bit about defense, because Augustana was the first team that got over 70 points on you guys this season. Was that something that you were aware of after the game? Is that something that was kind of a pride thing for the team to hold everybody down in scoring this year?
Yes, I mean we try to hold teams under 50 every game if we can, but I mean Augustana is a great team, and they shot the ball very well. A lot of the shots that they did take were contested, so we have to tip our hats to them that they made a lot of tough shots, and we try to do our job. So. All
right, from a coaching staff perspective, what was that like to have to?
We knew at halftime when they had 40 points. It's like, man, we're not used to this. I mean, you remember the night before Wayne had 41 for the game,
right.
And Augie, had that at halftime.
16 in the first half.
Yeah, but and those two teams split with each other. I mean, that's why you can't get into comparing scores, from one team to another and whatnot, because it all comes down to matchups and style of play and not every team plays the same every night. And we're striving to do that, but different matchups and style of play can disrupt that. I mean, the other team's trying to win too. They're trying to make life difficult for you. But we missed some shots against Augie that we're capable of making. Matter of fact, we talked with our group yesterday. It's like, the point spread, the final score of the game made the game feel like it was not as close as it really was. And what I mean by that is, if we could change 4 possessions at both ends of the floor, that game is a toss-up. And so that will be our goal next time we play them. And we can look back and find 5 easy baskets that we could have taken away from them just by taking care of the ball or being alert. And at the same time, we've seen many more than 5 shots that we were capable of making. And I look back on that game, and I wish that we would have subbed sooner and a little bit more late in the third quarter, because we made that run, like you mentioned, we got down to 2, and then but I felt like we were starting to get tired, and I think if we had to do it over again, we probably would have subbed and given Tara a 1 or 2 minute break and give Jenny Tuttle a 1 or 2 minute break, and maybe not at the same time because they both were so important to us handling the ball, but that's just the way that game evolved, and we'll be more ready for something like that next time.
All right. How do you feel coming into the games this weekend? 2 more home games against Marion Minot.
I'm excited. I always love playing at home. They play zone again, which so many teams in our league are playing zone, so we've practiced that a lot, and I'm excited because we have such a good inside game, which then therefore opens the outside game, so I'm really excited.
All right, and last question for you. We go back a little bit to high school. I understand your school's all-time leading scorer at Painesville, and in an article that I was reading about you, your coach said that you're kind of a rock star in your town, especially when you would coach little girls basketball on Saturday mornings.
Yep.
Talk about that experience and what that was like to have a little bit of the coaching experience.
You definitely take a step back when you go from the player to coaching. It really opened my eyes, but it's so fun to be able to pass my experiences on and like what I've learned as a basketball player onto little kids and like try making their dreams come true. And I've talked about with my head coach from high school maybe putting on some clinics in the future just to help improve the girls' skill and just to kind of show them what their future could hold, and just keep their dreams alive. And our program has been struggling lately back in Painesville, so I just hope that I can give back from what the experience that I've been able to have.
I gotta ask you about that. Is that kind of a plus to get a player that also kind of has that kind of mindset for coaching?
Yeah, that's what's cool about what we get to do in our profession is share knowledge and share experiences and help somebody feel good about themselves and achieve, accomplish things that maybe they didn't know or believe that they could do. And and Kayla's, we're still polishing her. She's not a finished product yet, but we're excited about what she could turn into, and not just as a basketball player, but as a leader, as a role model, on and off the basketball floor. And hearing her talk about being able to share things back home with younger people in her own community, that's really cool.
All right, well, thank you for joining us here today, and good luck to both of you against Marion Minot this weekend.
Thank you.
Are you ready to take a break here on Warriors Fast Break? When we come back, we'll talk a little Warrior men's basketball right after this.
Hit the hardwood for college hoops on BTN. Don't miss a moment of the excitement.
Oh my goodness, yes sir! Are you kidding me?
When your team takes the floor all season long.
What a spectacular play! Strong to the rim! They're fun. They're just fun.
Big Ten basketball all season long on BTN and BTN to go.
Some people, no matter what they were born into, were meant to be so much more.
We got the makings of a supergroup.
This is your dream. This is my dream for us.
What you get is what you see, and I bring me.
Star, Wednesdays, or watch anytime on demand or Fox Now.
Cost Cutters of Winona presents Making the Grade. Catch all the spotlight happenings in the Winona School District 861, featuring interviews with students and faculty members. Tune in to Making the Grade on HBC TV 25 at 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. Check your listings for additional weekend times. Presented by Cost Cutters of Winona, located at the Professional Building in the Winona Mall Annex.
And welcome back to Warriors Fast Break here on HBC TV 25. And time now to talk Warrior men's basketball. And unfortunately, we don't have a guest for this segment of the show, but we'll kind of go over what happened last weekend for the Winona State men's basketball team as they played Wayne State and Augustana in 2 games at home after playing 4 games on the road the previous 2 weeks. The Warriors and Wayne State had a back and forth battle in that first half. It was really a game of runs. Winona State jumped out to a lead. Then there was an 8-0 run by Wayne State, 7-0 run by the Warriors. Eventually the Warriors held a lead 28-24 at the half. Both teams didn't shoot the ball very well in that first half. Warriors at 35.5%, the Wildcats at just 30%. But in the second half, Tommy Getke, Connor Flack, they combined to give the Warriors a 10-point lead with under 8 minutes left to play. Of course, then here come the runs again. Wayne State had a 9-0 run to put Winona State at just a 1-point lead with 60 seconds left to play. Eventually, the game would go into overtime, and during the overtime period, Wayne State was able to kind of gain control of the game. They went 4 for 4 at the free throw line, which was a huge thing for them in order to get control. At the end of the game, Isaiah Gray had a chance at a 3-point shot, but he wasn't able to get that shot off before the clock expired, and the Warriors fell in the game 66-63 to Wayne State. That snapped a 3-game losing streak for Wayne State. The next night, the Warriors played Augustana, who, as you remember, were the Division II defending national champions in men's basketball. Warriors came out on fire in that game, maybe upset over what happened against Wayne State the night before, but the Warriors ended up with a 12-point lead with just over 3.5 minutes left to go in the opening half. They held that 12-point, got close to that 12-point lead. 41-33 was the score at the half. The Warriors were 57.1% from the field in the first half, while Augustana, not bad at all, 44.1%. Warrior defense, though, was able to hold Augustana a little bit to gain an edge at the halftime. But when the second half came, Augustana kind of woke up from their funk, if you would want to say that. Kind of kept things really interesting. With 5 minutes left to go, the Warriors still held a pretty good advantage, but then it was Wayne State's 3-point shooting that really, or excuse me, Augustana's 3-point shooting that really kept the difference. They hit 3 straight shots from 3-point range and then gained a 4-point advantage. Again, it came down to the end of the game. Warriors had a chance. Riley Bamanek put up a 3-point shot at the end of the game that could have tied the game. He was fouled on that shot. The referees came over and took a look at it on instant replay to determine, did Riley actually get the shot off before the buzzer happened? Was he actually fouled? Was he behind the line? Would it be 3 shots? Bamanek was given 3 free throws. He hit the first one and then missed the last 2, and Augustana came away with the win 73-71. Overall in that game, the Warriors shot 49% from the field, while Augustana shot 46%. But in other key categories, Augustana held an advantage as they had the advantage in rebounds 35-29, points in the paint 34-28, turnovers 11-9, and second chance points at 9 and 9-2. Warriors are back home this weekend on Friday and Saturday. On Friday, they face Minot State. The Warrior women take the court at 6 p.m. The Warrior men play at 8 o'clock. And then on Saturday, it is the University of Mary as the Warrior men take the court at 6 o'clock. Warrior women proceed that at 4 o'clock. Both of those games you can watch right here on HBC TV 25. Thank you for joining us on Warriors Fast Break today. I'm Justin Barrientos, and we'll see you next time here on HBC TV 25.